Hey Geometries, this is Mr. Bloom and this is lesson 6.6 and I'm drawing arrows all over the place today. This is lesson 6.6, trapezoids and kites. This is day 2. Okay, our objectives are still the same objectives that we wrote before. We're just starting up in the notes where you left off. Now, our definition of a kite. A kite is a quadrilateral with two pairs of consecutive sides congruent and no opposite sides congruent. So two pairs of consecutive sides congruent and opposite sides are not congruent. Okay, if opposite sides were congruent, that would mean this is a rhombus. But because it's a kite, we're talking about our two consecutive sides. Okay, now keeping in mind theorem 622, if a quadrilateral is a kite, then its diagonals are perpendicular. So if I know this is true, okay, the kite's diagonals happen to be perpendicular here. Okay, the other thing that has perpendicular diagonals is a rhombus, but a rhombus has all the sides congruent, so opposite sides would be the same. Okay, so keeping in mind the kite has this long axis of symmetry and this short axis, and they're perpendicular. All right, now let's see what we know about a kite. All right, finding the angle measures in a kite. Quadrilateral DEFG is a kite. What are the measure of angle 1, 2, and 3? So we got to find these measures. Now we got to keep in mind when we're looking at this kite, this is my long axis and it is the mirror line of my kite. So when I'm worrying about this, I know that the measure of angle 1 is at a right angle. So I'm talking about the measure of angle 1 is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. I also further know, since this angle is 52, this angle is also 52 because of the mirror line. This cuts this kite in half. And keep in mind, this side and this side are the same. This side and this side are the same. And I can come up with the fact that this angle and this angle would be the same in a kite because of side, side, side congruence. Okay, these three, this triangle here and this triangle here are congruent to each other because of side, side, side. And because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, CPCTC, I know that this is also congruent. Now, with that said, I've got that the measure of angle 3 is 52 degrees. Okay, now my next thing that I want to make sure you drive home on is, since this is 90 degrees and this is 52, this has to be a measure that we can say, hey, 52 plus 90 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 180 degrees. We know that the three angles in a triangle add up to 180, but we also know that the two acute angles in a triangle add up to 90 when it was a right triangle. So 52 plus the measure of angle 2 should equal 90 if I just subtract 90 from both sides. Now, if I subtract 52, I know that the measure of angle 2 is 38. So I have the measure of angle 2 is 38 degrees. Okay, now we got to wonder if you know this as well, so it's your turn. If you would turn off the video and make an attempt to find angle 1, 2, and 3, I would greatly appreciate it. Go ahead. Okay, welcome back. We're doing the same thing. Okay, angle 1, remember the diagonals of a kite meet and they're perpendicular to each other, so the measure of angle 1 is 90 degrees. Okay, angle 3, the measure of angle 3, because of corresponding parts of congruent triangles, and the 36 degrees is the same. Okay, and then my last thing, I know that the 36 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 90. When I subtract, I know the measure of angle 2 is equal to 54 degrees. So the measure of angle 2 is equal to 54 degrees. Now, I hope this is going well, and we'll see if we can continue with more of these problems. Oh, you know something? Look at this. What are the measures of the numbered angles? So this is a self-quiz. Find out what you know. Okay, self-quiz. Okay, go ahead, turn me off, get it done. Okay, so you're back, but did you find the measure of angle 1, the measure of angle 2, the measure of angle 3, and do you know what those are and how to do them? Okay, so if I'm looking at this, you got to keep in mind, I have a kite. So the diagonals meet at a right angle, so I know 2 is 90 degrees. Okay, I also have to be thinking, all right, he's got a kite going on here. And when we're doing this, there's symmetry across the kite. So if this is 78, so is that. So in angle 1, we have 78 degrees. Okay, now because I have angle 2 as 90 degrees, because angle 2 and therefore the other angles here at this spot are 90 degrees, I know the two acute angles are also 90 together. So if I take 90 minus 78, I get 12 degrees for angle 3. Now, looking at our other shape, we have a trapezoid, and these are parallel lines, so consecutive same side interior or consecutive interior angles, however you want to think about it, are supplementary. So the measure of angle 1 plus 86 is equal to 180. So the measure of angle 1 must therefore be 94 degrees. The measure of angle 2 plus 48 is equal to 180. Okay, so the measure of angle 2 must be 132 degrees. So that's what we've got for those angles, and hopefully things went well. Now let's get on with finishing this section. Properties. Oh, look, we are done. That's my summary. So I've got my summary, my objective today. Students will be able to use properties of trapezoids and kites. Now, what you need to know is that we have that purple sheet, and that purple sheet should be updated. So let's look at that. So right now, you got to keep in mind, we've already done everything down the middle. Okay, so if you need something in the middle, and I'm going too fast for you, you got to keep in mind we did that before break. Okay, now today our information that we just covered is about trapezoids, isosceles trapezoids, and kites. So I've got trapezoids and isosceles trapezoids. Okay, so I can make those things available to you, but I just did kite as well. Okay, so make sure you're using time to get that information down, and you get to use this on your test. And the back part of this sheet is other stuff that you would need to be successful on your test as well. Okay, you might want to push stop on the video and get this down. And remember to get all the stuff down on this purple sheet, because now we have covered all the material we need. Now, as we have in all the other chapters, make sure you look at that Chapter 6 formal scale. Check off the things you know, okay? And if there's something that you're like, hey, what's going on? You should seek out assistance from your local geometry teacher and ask a question. Remember, if you don't ask a question, we can't predict what it will be. So make sure you're seeking out enlightenment as you're going through here. That Chapter 6 test is coming up quick. And I hope your things are going well, and I hope you all have a great day. Remember, I'm Mr. Bloom, and you're not.